everyone. Is anyone here not an author? Yeah, there you go. I'm like, not me. I was just curious, like, who my audience is, right? So most of you then hopefully will get a little something out of this. So I've been working with authors since 2012. I've worked a lot on a lot of things, but I get the most questions, even in this day and age, about social media. So I thought, let me talk a little about that. And as you notice, I titled it in a complex social media landscape. And it is, it's like, especially with what happened with Twitter, like all these different offshoots, like it's kind of a mess. And it can be hard to know what to do and what you can skip and you have to do it all. So I just want to cover some of those topics with you. And now I also need to see my writing. Okay. So anyway, just want to help you simplify, how you approach social media, because I think it doesn't have to be as complicated as some people make it out to be. So what's the point of social media? What are your goals as authors? Networking is a big one with other authors, with agents, publishers, editors, whatever. I actually think that's actually what Facebook is the best for, interestingly. Facebook doesn't work as well in some ways for finding audience and stuff. So, I mean, granted, that may depend on your age group. Because I do understand now that Facebook is kind of more like an old people thing, but if you're doing Facebook, it's a great place to have, those kinds of relationships with people. But anyway, okay, well, hold on. I'm really sorry. I had my up close glasses on, but then I couldn't see you guys, so I'm kind of having to do some of this. So the major platforms, I already talked about Facebook. Then the rest of them all work very similarly. And I'm going to actually talk about some daily steps, or mostly daily steps, that I suggest to my clients. So it's actually like just a little mini checklist to help you kind of get through your thing. So the biggest ones people are still using right now, again, aside from Facebook, are Threads, which of course is Meta / Facebook, sort of something they launched after people started really leaving Twitter in droves. I actually don't use it a lot because I have this little rebel streak and I don't want Meta to own literally all of my things. Because I already use Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp, and I'm like, no. That said, there's plenty of people on it, a lot of people on it, because it's such an easy thing to just be like, click one button and you're in. So there's a lot of people in the industry using it. Feel free to check it out. And then, of course, there's Instagram, which, I mean, it's been around a while. I think we're all pretty familiar with that. And TikTok, which is a little bit terrifying for a lot of people, which is fair. And we'll talk a little more about that. And finally, X or Twitter. Some people are definitely still using it. I have mostly stopped, but I put a pinned post at the top, with my info, which leads me to the next thing. You definitely don't have to do it all. You don't have to be busy on everything every day, or your entire life will be social media, right? So I usually just tell people, pick one or two that you want to do and do it. But what I do recommend is on most of them, you can't get all of them, honestly, at this point. But on most of them, if you decide, go ahead, sign up, even if you're not going to use it, so that you just have a profile. And that profile will have a place for a link. And the link can go wherever you want it to go. It can go to your website, it can go to your other social media, whatever you want. So even if you're not going, sorry, I talked next to them. So even if you're not going to use it, make a profile. Make sure people can find you if they're looking for you. Because gosh, if somebody's actually Googling you, like, that's super exciting and you want it to work, right? So, okay. So now actually making use of it, growing your social media. And when I say grow, I don't just mean numbers, because numbers are okay, but they're not really the main thing. What you really want to do with it is you want to maybe get a few extra readers, right? You want to use it to help sell some more books. And the main thing is building this up is slow. Anybody who tells you there's a quick way to get an audience in social media is trying to sell you a scam. I'm just going to tell you that right now. It's not, don't buy followers, it doesn't work. Sorry. Oh yeah, so anyway, consistency is definitely the biggest thing. I say daily, I know the real world, maybe you're not gonna get through it every day. Don't beat yourself up about it, okay? Just do your. But this is kind of the big meat here. This is my checklist that I give people. So daily, interact with people you already follow. Seems like a silly thing to have to say, but some people get very focused on, oh, I gotta build, need more people. That you forget that you neglect the people who are already there with you. You want to nurture those people that you're following. So I usually say, if you want to actually, bring it down to, a task list, leave 5 comments a day on something or more, if you want, but leave 5 comments, substantive ones. You can do a yay or cool or whatever, but also if somebody's talking about more of a concept, you can speak to that. Just, you want to be yourself to some degree, maybe not completely, depends, how shy or not shy you are. And of course, you do want to try to meet new people. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this because you're like, okay, that's easier said than done. But one of the things you can do, again, other than Facebook, that's kind of very separate from all this, but on all the other ones I've talked about, and Blue Sky and just about anything, you can look up keywords, hashtags, things like that. So if your genre, say, for example, is horror, which is something probably the thing I work with the most, if an author wants to search, horror reader, horror books, am writing horror or whatever, like you can take those kinds of keywords and hashtags and you can find people who are gonna actually have the potential to be interested. They're not just randos, well, maybe they're randos, but the randos who read what you write. And so you want to kind of take that and interact with them a little, follow them. You don't want to harass them. You don't want to just be like, here's the link to my book. You want to kind of just have like a conversation, like if you were at a party kind of a thing. But if you follow a few of these people a week, it's slow and easy. But as you get to know them, as you're going through that first step of nurturing the people you already follow, then you kind of are building new relationships. It's literally itemizing a way to build new relationships because it's not always easy, certainly not online. And I know, again, another obvious one, post regularly. And what do I post is the question, right? That's actually the biggest question is, I don't like to talk about myself. What do I even do? That's the hard part. If you're going to do social media, you kind of have to put a little of yourself out there, but you get to pick what it is. You don't have to share every single thing in your life. You don't have to share pictures of your kids or whatever, like that is up to you. But things like pictures of your cat. Did you bake some bread? Like just silly things like that. That's all fine. Your daily life makes you a real person and makes you relatable. And part of building these relationships is getting people to see you as a person, and to think, oh, I like this person. Or, oh, you know what, I trust what this person's saying. Those are the kinds of feelings you want to inspire in people with this sort of thing. So, sorry, again, glasses. The other thing is, of course, check for replies and messages, like direct messages daily, in case you actually miss something that's important. A lot of it's going to be spam, silly stuff, but one time I found in my message requests something that had been sent 6 months earlier, somebody that wanted to work with me. And of course, it was too late by then, right? So, I try to just keep an eye on that. And I recommend you do too, even if it's not going to really yield much most of the time. And be merciless in curation. If you decide you don't want to follow somebody anymore, unfollow. You know what? Don't worry about it. Unfollow them. If they're going to make a big deal out of it, that's their problem, and that's not your problem. Okay? Because you can only focus on so much at once. Our brains are not built to have 10,000 friends. That's not really how it works, right? So if something is tiresome to you, or draining your energy, or you're just not interested, that's fine. Unfollow. I guess the main thing is when you're posting and interacting, just don't make it all about business all the time. And if you're not sure what you want to say, I actually have a thing I didn't think to print any out or whatever, but I have a PDF that actually has a little kind of sample calendar of social media posts. Feel free to contact me after this. My cards are on the table, or just Google me. I'm the only Beverly Bambury I'm aware of. And I'll gladly email you this PDF. Sorry, I didn't bring any. But you know, it just mix it up a little. So one thing some people like to do is plan their content ahead of time. So you're not scrambling every day and going, oh God, now what do I do? So I recommend to those people kind of take a block of time, whether it's weekly or monthly or whatever works for you. And just set a plan. You can just write it in a spreadsheet or in a Word doc, like it doesn't matter. Just figure out what kinds of things am I going to do. Write it out, and you can, if you like, throw it into a scheduler. So again, if you're somebody who likes to plan ahead and doesn't want to wing it, there's really great programs out there. Buffer's one I used to use a lot. Planoly, Loomly, I don't know, there's a bunch of them. And some of them even now do TikTok. Speaking of TikTok, I definitely get a lot of questions about TikTok. No, you don't have to do it. Okay, you don't. It's something, I actually find TikTok very unpleasant because I have a lot of noise sensitivities. So I have to, if I'm gonna look at it, that phone's gotta be turned down or I'm just in misery. But some people really want to get in on the whole book talk thing, and that's cool if you want to get into this video content thing. You'll want to learn a little about how to use their tools, but they're not too difficult once you kind of get it explained. It's the most video editing I've ever done is on TikTok. But if you do it, it works exactly the same as the other things. If you're trying to build an audience, you're going to look for the book talk hashtag, or, you know, whatever genre or poetry or whatever, you're going to look for those people and you're going to interact with them. That all works the same. The discoverability on TikTok is pretty decent. But again, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. There's no pressure at all. You know, people will figure out how to find you if they're looking for you. Some people who are particularly busy have also just hired a virtual assistant person to do some of this stuff to help them write the content, or at least to schedule it, because it's also very tedious. Like sometimes if you get bored or you have ADHD or whatever, it can be hard to just sit and just do this repetitive task, right? So there's some really affordable assistance you can get. Again, if you're somebody who is going to have that kind of priority. Not everybody does, and not everybody has to. Like, just remember, all of this is just how does it fit with you and your own life. So the other big question is, how often do you post promotion? How often do you say buy my book? Definitely not every day, unless you're like, say, a week from a publication date or some special occasion. Then you probably want to say every day, oh my gosh, my book's coming in 7 days. 6 days, 5 days, you know, do a countdown, that's fine. But I mean, all of the time, you want to, you know, probably a couple times a week. You don't want people to forget who you are and what your raison d'etre is and all of that. But, you know, mix it up. Again, if you get that sample calendar thing that I was talking about, I actually have that sort of placed in there, just like do this on X day, this on X day. So that might be useful for you if you're curious about this kind of thing. And really tell your story. You know, who are you? What are the things that you're passionate about? Whether it's something big like what's going on in Palestine, or whether it's something small that's just going on in your life that you're really passionate about. Like lately, I know this is really silly. Lately, it's been my dogs. They are bringing me so much joy, and I'm just taking pictures of them all the time. And that's kind of what's really helping my mental health right now. So a lot of people are seeing a lot of very tiny dogs if they follow me on Instagram. So. And again, you know, you don't have to do it all. So if you're feeling like you're not doing it right, don't worry about that. Throw that out, put it behind you, because there isn't really a right way. There is a wrong way, but there's not a specific right way. Sorry, by wrong way, I just mean, you know, the people who literally never post anything other than book link, book link, but nobody's paying attention because they're just being advertised to 24/7, right? Actually everything, sorry, I hope I didn't talk so fast that you couldn't understand me. I just kind of revved up. I haven't been out seeing people in a really long time. So again, contact me if you have questions. I love to talk, as you can see.
Or those are questions now.
Or I was gonna say, you know, there's also this Q&A coming up. And all that. So I guess that's it. So